up, y'all? How goes? Once again, apologies for the late start. Hope y'all can hear me. Good, you can. That's good. Alright. What's up, everybody? Who we got? We got Nathan, Nikisha, SLJ, Jake, Angel. How's it going, everybody? What are y'all saying, though? Nathan, I'm not Albert. Love him, though. Nikisha, good evening. Hey, SLJ. Yeah, that slap, you guys, man. Slap scene all around the world. Spencer and Charlotte both need therapy. Yes, they do. Sick of the Cassidines. Yeah. Only a 20-minute delay. Yeah, but I had to run from work too. Like, usually I have a Sunday off, so it's like I can like kind of slowly put together all my notes, and it's a chill, relaxing day overall. I had to do it all early. And then I had to basically run from my staff meeting to just come down and start the live stream, quickly gather myself, and then, you know, come here live. And also, there's lots to talk about today, like tons. Oh, man. But yeah, welcome to the show, everybody. We'll jump right into it today because, you know, we're already a bit late in starting. I even tried to make like the wait screen not as long this time around, or I tried anyway. But yeah, let's just get into it because there's lots to talk about. Obviously, we'll get into, you know, the Anna stuff last because I feel like everyone, you know, that's kind of the thing that we all want to talk about. And I'll wait for more people to get in here. Hey, Kaiwan. They're not necessarily broken up yet, but we'll see. Because Spencer is being a moron. Alright. But yeah, first thing we're going to talk about is Drew, because, you know, we'll slowly get into the things, all the things, but kind of mostly the smaller bits first. First of all, as you saw at the end of last week, Drew Kane is out of jail, and he spent the week, this week, reuniting with his loved ones. His first stop was Carly. You'd think it would be his daughter, but details. But the next morning, he reunites with Sam, and they talk about what happened to Charlotte and how it affected her kids. We'll get into all things Charlotte a little later, don't worry. Soon after, Scout comes down the stairs and has an adorable reunion with her dad. Then Drew and Scout, they make their way to the Invader office to surprise Alexis, who Carly and Sam had let Drew know played a pivotal role in his being let go, or let out of jail, or let out of prison, sorry. And then the next stop after that was Michael, which Carly joined him for. And of course, Carly is still curious to figure out who turned them in. Drew is still sure it was Ned, but Michael does put in their ear that it could be someone else. Not that I think that he will spill it to them, to be honest. You know, I obviously, between Drew finally getting out anyway and Willow wanting a relationship with her mom, he's kind of holding back a little bit. But yeah, either way, that doesn't necessarily matter because there is now officially someone else out there who does know the truth and will likely spill the beans. More on that in a second, though. Drew also reunited with Curtis, and I'm actually really glad the writers remembered how important that friendship is with each other. And they talked about their friendship too, and how it was kind of formed in the fire of like the craziest things over the years. But yeah, I love me a good bromance. What are y'all saying? Drew is out, woohoo. I still hear Cameron ready to tell me all about the celebrity gossip on E! News when I hear Drew. You know what's funny? Apparently the Canadian equivalent to E! News, which is E! Talk I think here, got cancelled. So, It was on for a long time too. But yeah, anyway, now like I said a minute ago, someone else is coming into play when it comes to Nina and her secret. This week, Eddie Main was struggling real hard to finish that song that he's been working on about the siren, and Lois, being the excellent coach that she is, gives him a pep talk and tells him that he's got to dive in. To his character, of course, she asks, where do sirens hang out? And it's the water, of course. So Ned makes his way to the boathouse by the lake, and he can hear singing voices in his head. So he quite literally dives into the lake in November in the state of New York. Ridiculous. And then Olivia, after having a bad talk with Tracy, followed by a good talk with Lois, gets told where Eddie is by Lois, and when she gets to the boathouse, she sees his jacket and his boots and realizes he's jumped into the water. So she dives on in after him, and they spent, I shit you not, an entire episode underwater, those two. I mean, other things were going on elsewhere, but they spent the entire episode in the water. Ned is literally swimming around, hearing these singing voices, and gets trapped by some sort of netting or seaweed or something like that. I can't remember. But either way, he starts to have flashes of his life as Ned, and then he sees Olivia swimming towards him, and it all comes back, but he loses consciousness, and Olivia ends up pulling him out and reviving him. And lo and behold, he is no longer Eddie Main. He's Ned. He remembers. Yay, thank God. Things are still slightly groggy, but he does remember their life together, meaning it's only a matter of time before Ned remembers what he found out about Nina. On a technical note, I just have to say, the outside of the Quartermain boathouse is probably my favorite set within the Quartermain property. And it still pretty much looks exactly like it did back in the day. So like even in the 90s when we seen the set the most, I think. And so that's why I love it. It hasn't changed. It looks the same. And it's a beautiful set as well. And I think the lighting in like the end of Thursday's episode was really good and looked very much like a sunset on the lake. So props to whoever does the lighting on GH. I also want to give props to Wally and Lisa for having to be under the water that long, and even the set design, because if you watch the behind the scenes footage, I don't know if you guys caught it, they've uploaded it to Instagram and Twitter and I think YouTube as well. It's a tiny ass pool that they're swimming in, and yet the directors managed to make it look like significantly bigger, which I was impressed by. Because the last time we had seen underwater scenes on the show, it looked like they were in like a tiny little tank that could barely fit one person. So, you know, it looks bigger, and they made it look like it was endless, which I appreciated. How show about celebrity gossip gets cancelled? Y'all don't care about celebrities in Canada, eh? I mean, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's not that we don't care. Maybe it was just too big of a budget or too, I don't know, unnecessary, because like Canada gets most of the US stuff too. Like we already get like e-news in Canada already, so to have a Canadian equivalent to that, you know, doesn't really matter. And with social media these days, you kind of already know what's going on with the celebrities, so to be fair, I feel like it's pointless regardless, no matter which country, because if we want to know, we can just go to their social media. Had a whole Little Mermaid moment in that episode. Yeah, whole hour, dude. Yeah, this MFer literally dived the fuck in. Yeah, so much for me censoring myself, but I don't need to. It's all good. We're all adults here, I hope. All right, but moving on a little bit. I feel like we need to talk about Tracy. She is heading back to Amsterdam with Bobby Spencer to finally deal with Luke's affairs. Now, I don't know if this is actually Tracy's exit. I hope not. I don't know how long they have her. To be honest, I'm kind of nervous that her return was only for the 60th year and that once the celebration is over, she'll just go. But I hope I'm wrong. What I do think, though, is that this could very well be the start of Bobby's death storyline, with the strike over and the fact that we are already sort of transitioning back into the original writers. I actually do wholeheartedly believe that paying tribute to Jackie is probably the show's first priority when it comes to new stuff, as they weren't able to address it up until this point, given that Jackie passed away just as the strike began, and the writers that stepped in were only allowed to write the day-to-day episodes of the stories that were already in place to be written about, without creating new ones. I, for one, am ready to see a tribute to Jackie and Bobby, but also not ready because we just lost Tyler. We've lost so many, but I do think that you know, it's always kind of a weird place to be, or like a weird place to be when an actor dies and the character he or she is playing is somewhere in limbo until they can address it, off screen, alive and well, until the writers address it. And while the writers have every right to decide to leave the character alive and thriving somewhere, I think in Jackie's case, having the character die would allow the show to give the actress the tribute she deserves. This woman has always been Bobby, and always will be. And while the show actually did manage to give Jackie her flowers when she was alive at last year's Nurses Ball, I think this is a character that deserves a full tribute with her closest colleagues over the years in tow for it as well. I don't really know how that would work, or how they could do it with Tony Geary, given that Luke's been killed off, but it wouldn't feel right without him, in my opinion. And I feel the same way about Kim Schreiner, Rick Springfield, and Brad Mall, who played Tony, who is also dead on the show. And I feel like that about Sarah Brown as well. Now, in the terms of Tony and Luke, like Tony the character and Luke the character, since Luke was killed and Tony was killed, maybe they could kind of like have their ghosts appear at the back of the church during the funeral, and maybe have like a redhead stand in for her for when they escort her into the afterlife. Kind of like the reverse of when Edward and Lila came to greet Oscar into the afterlife, but just flipped. I think that would be a great way to address it. What are y'all saying? They probably gonna make the character die of a heart attack. Yeah, like a broken heart or something, because Bobby adored Luke, Her Tracy's coming back. That's good. Did Billy get a in memoriam? He got one on social media. I don't think he got one at the end of the credits. Mind you, I usually watch City. Oh no, that would still be on regardless because it's not a preview. Yeah, I don't think they did one for Billy, but I don't know. I think there's just behind the scenes stuff that we don't know about, that maybe they don't have a good relationship or didn't end on good terms. Pure speculation on my part. That would be a beautiful excerpt. I think so too. I'm not going to trademark it. The writers can borrow that if they want. Sorry, come on. What are you talking about? Like at the end of the show? No, I don't think that they did. Angel. Like, would they do the same for Tyler? I think that they'll put a memoriam for Tyler just because he was on the show for so long. And that's another thing, too. Like, let's be real. Billy Miller was on for, just a few years. And he was not even playing, the same character. They shuffled him around, for many reasons. Mostly because Steve Burton came back. And he just wasn't written properly. And I feel like the show just didn't care. Sad to say it, but someone like Tyler, who's been on for forever, and Sonia, who's been on forever, and Jackie, who's been on forever, it makes sense, but it's kind of I mean, how many... There's been a lot of characters who were on for a few years that have passed on that didn't get mentioned at all, you know what I mean? And I think Billy's sadly just one of them. Have him run you your coin for that idea. I should. Make me some money, guys. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either, Angel. And as for Tyler, I secretly hope that they just, like... I said it last week. Kill Nicholas off. I'm over it. I haven't liked him since Tyler played him anyway. And then they can give Tyler's Nicholas a tribute of some sort. Alright. Let's move on, though. Let's talk a little bit about Lois. Supposedly, she was getting ready to leave town. They were planning on throwing this party for her. And I was very upset because I have loved seeing Rena Sofer on the show. And if there is a way to get her on board permanently again, I will be all for it. But it looks like we're keeping her a little bit longer, at least, because she is slowly persuading Brooklyn to take the job at Deception and suggesting that she finds a way to remove Tracy completely from the company from the inside. Knowing that if she were to simply take it and try to give it directly back to Lucy, Tracy would likely have a plan B and C waiting after a plan A that makes sure that she doesn't do that. I mean, if Brooklyn manages to one-up Tracy somehow, I will be very impressed. But more so, if it keeps Lois around, then I'm here for it. So, and you know, Lois said herself, she can't possibly leave without helping her daughter out with this. I also know, and maybe I forget if I brought it up or if you guys maybe haven't heard, the actress that played Lois's mother, Gloria, I don't know the actress's name, will also be returning to the show soon. And I'm gonna totally ignore that voice in my head that says Gloria is going to show up and drag Lois back to Bensonhurst for some kind of random emergency and choose to live in ignorance and bliss for a little bit. Until the obvious becomes obvious, anyway. Not much we can do. Yeah, that's true. Alright, now since we're on the topic of deception, let's get into what happened inside that bubble for a bit. Brooklyn had actually gone to the office to check in with Maxie after hearing about what happened with Charlotte and imagining how shaken up her daughter Georgie must be. Things were understandably a little bit chilly between those two, but Sasha stepped in and told the girls to stop acting like they don't miss each other and to put this incident behind them, and so they do, which is great. And then while Maxie was ready to leave the office to be with Georgie, despite her daughter not wanting her to have her, an amazing opportunity falls in Deception's lap to get a photographer, who I think his name is Salvador, that she's always wanted apparently. And Sasha convinced her to stick around and do it. Sasha, of course, is the model, and when Salvador realizes that he isn't happy, because he's scared that she's gonna, you know, be a druggie and a hot mess and hard to work with, but Sasha is eager to prove that she is not the mess that she is portrayed to be. The photo session goes very well, and when the photographer realizes that that Cody, who brings in an alpaca that he wanted onto the set, has like great chemistry with Sasha and the alpaca. Also, apparently the Quartermaines have alpacas on their property. Who knew? But yeah, I guess Cody is also just good looking enough that he sees, or he wants him in like the photos with Sasha and the alpaca. And you know, it's great because he couldn't take his eyes off of her anyway when he was off the set, and now on the set he just has to do the same thing. I won't lie, guys. I kind of like Sasha and Cody together, and I'm rooting for them genuinely. Mainly because I want Sasha to have some happiness, and I don't see Cody doing anything to hurt her in the near future anyway. Here's hoping the writers don't come back and prove me wrong on that, because if I have to watch Sasha go through misery again, I'm gonna be so pissed. That girl has been through enough, y'all. Yeah, I don't blame the photographer either. But I think that it's fair to give her a chance, Cute alpaca. Oh yeah. Hey Jakarius. Alright. Moving on. So like I said, I'm hoping that the writers don't prove me wrong and keep Sasha and Cody together and happy for a while. We're already seeing telltale signs for another couple, that being Trina and Spencer. It's not that surprising. They have to write him to be absolute trash to prepare for when he leaves the show, you guys. Like, it's the reality that the actor has to shoot American Crime Story. So he's going to be likely off screen for a while. Who knows, maybe even permanently, because I honestly, that boy is going to thrive in his career as an actor. But yeah, here's the rundown anyway. This week, Esme told Laura that she thinks it's time for her to move into her own place, with Ace, of course, and even admits why. She says lines are getting blurred, she's finding herself developing feelings for Spencer, and Laura believes she's being sincere. I do too, actually. And Laura's even willing to co-sign for her place and help her with the rent. Spencer learns of this in the worst way, of course. He was blindsided at the Metro Court because Laura and him were having breakfast or lunch there, and she was telling him about Charlotte, and then Esme kind of walked in and spilled the beans, probably thinking that he already knew. But both Esme and Laura point out that he's not Ace's father and is in no obligation to stay under the same roof as him. And Laura points out that he doesn't even want to be with Esme. So, it is what it is. And then later in the week, he tells Trina, Joss, and Dex of the situation, and Trina is understandably relieved that they'll finally be under separate roofs. And Spencer sees it as a betrayal that she even thinks this, and thinks that Trina is going to make him choose between Ace and her. And she says, I'll spare you the choice, and storms out. Now, Spencer is such a moron with this. I mean, at this point, I think it's obvious that Esme is being more than fair. She's not leaving town. She literally said she's going to stay in town because she knows that Laura wants a relationship with Ace and that Spencer wants a relationship with Ace. She's not going to leave town. She just wants her own space. And also, she's literally going to let him see Ace whenever he wants to. And it clears the way for him to be in a relationship with Trina without this one lingering thing over them. And weirdly enough, Dex kind of plays devil advocate and sees where Spencer is coming from a bit in the sense that he's just mad because he wants Ace under the same roof. But again, there's only one way for that to happen. And even Trina had said before she left, you'll be in his life, just not in the same house. But yeah, if I were a betting man, like, I don't know exactly when Nicholas is going to be shooting American Crime Story just yet. But I would think that what he would probably do if we were going to get him a little bit longer, he's going to be Spencer about it. He's going to want to raise A's. So, but I think he also knows that it's not going to fly in court for him to just seek custody for him when his mother is working and she's raising the kid on her own and is being put up by the mayor, essentially. But yeah, so I wouldn't doubt, though, that he's going to manipulate her into a relationship, pretend that he's in love with her, just to keep Ace close. Either that, or he's going to try to take her to court, lose, and need some space and time out of town to clear his head. One way or the other, he's going to exit the show. Or just get away for, kind of end things with Trina so that when he does leave, it'll lessen the blow a bit, I guess. But yeah. And the thing is, like, if the show is successful, which I honestly have no doubt it will be, Ryan Murphy, who makes these American Crime Stories, American Horror Stories, like all these different series that he's done over the years, they're always successful. And it's like, and the actors like get like nominated for Emmys, and they get these bigger roles welcome to them, especially if they're playing like amazing roles. My biggest example under the Ryan Murphy sort of rainbow is Evan Peters. Like, you know, that dude has been kicking ass and taking names ever since. And Nicholas is playing a badass character who is probably going to test him as an actor, but I think he's up for the challenge. That dude's going to thrive. What are y'all saying though? He made me mad the way he talked to Trina. Laura's already on my bad side. This is quite bullshit. It's giving Spencer will kidnap the baby. Oh, I mean, he could. That's actually a good theory, too. Angel, you said my brother is 16 years older than me. If he wanted to spend time with me when I was a kid, he would have had to ask Mom if he can take me anywhere. This is normal behavior. Yeah. Not living with your siblings is not abandonment. Just spend time with Ace. He will probably kidnap that baby. Yeah, you probably... You know what? You might be right. We'll see how things play out, I guess. Spencer should have yelled at Trina. You could tell, though, that he wasn't in the right frame of mind. Oh, you mean shouldn't have. Once Trina was elated. Trina could have handled it better before they had that conversation. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think they're broken up right now. I think, like, it's a bad argument, and they both are heated, and I think that they'll talk things out and sort things out a little bit, but I also think that he could take the opportunity, because who knows how long he's going to be in this headspace. It really ultimately comes down to Nicholas's project outside of GH. We'll see what goes down. It will be so hard to replace Nicholas Chavez as Spencer. He's so good. Yeah, exactly, I agree. That man acts... Let's be real. This man can act circles around most of his co-stars. So, you know, I feel like the sky is the limit for that dude. And I'll be genuinely happy for him, but I'll be genuinely upset for GH as well. Alright, let's quickly touch base on a couple more of the little things before we get into all things Anna and Charlotte. Let's talk about Austin and Mason. Austin is doing a poor job of making himself look, you know, not making himself look sketchy as hell in front of the police when they want to question him about Mason and what he does. Chase can see that Austin is lying through his teeth when he says that they barely talk to each other, and even catches him in Mason's room. Like, please, for the love of God, like, let this be Austin and Mason's exit. Please let them leave. I'm done. I'm so done. I'm over it. This is so stupid. They had no idea what to do with the character. I don't want another rewrite to try to redeem him into a good guy. Like, Sunny this week actually made Ava face the truth, letting her know that Cyrus is the boss that Austin and Mason are working for, and that he's basically been lying to her from the jump. You know, like, you know, he really like kind of like simplified it for Ava, and you know, she's like, she realizes it. She's like, oh crap, if this guy is her boss, and like the timing of my kidnapping, like, it makes sense. And hopefully she puts the conclusion that he knew about Nicholas too. Austin is not bright. No, he is not. Trina was just being real. I would have said something because Spencer has an unhealthy attachment to his little brother. Yeah, he does. I mean, I get it to an extent. A lot of it stems from, you know, his abandonment issues with his dad, because his dad has abandoned him over and over again, and he wants Ace to have a father figure in his life. I get it. I get it to an extent with Spencer, for sure. Like, he's just trying to be a good father because he knows his father will not be one to that kid. However, he doesn't have the right. He's the brother. it's up to Esme ultimately. And she's doing good for herself. She's got a job that pays enough that she could get her own apartment. Laura's just cushioning the blow for her getting her own apartment. Like, she didn't ask Laura for help. She just said what she wanted to do, and Laura supported her. Is Roger Howarth leaving? It seems like they're writing him into a corner. Yeah, but look how many people we've seen written into corners that stick around for an unfathomable a long time, basically. Like, I mean, Julian Jerome stuck around for like years after the fact, when he was literally holding a knife to Alexis's throat and turned her into an alcoholic. Peter August, we had him for years before they killed him off. Like, several years over his overstayed welcome. So I don't know. We'll see. Laura made me mad. I'm not mad at Laura. Like, Esme has changed. Like, I can totally see why she's supporting her. And I don't think that, like, Spencer needs to... I don't think that Ace and Esme need to live under the same roof as Spencer. Like, I get that you're mad you're a Sabrina fan. I'm a Sabrina fan too. I can't be mad at Laura. She's, like, helping someone else. And Laura even said that she thinks that it would be beneficial for him to not live under the same roof as Ace. Because, you know, because of Trina. So really, she's just trying to help Trina and Spencer's relationship. Yeah, Frank loves his damn pets. He does. Child Peter August makes my already existing split ends even more. Yeah. Oh, no, Wes Ramsey has long hair. Yeah, I saw that. I just feel like Esme is still pulling a trick. I really don't. I really don't think so. Even the actress doesn't think so. So, like, I don't know. I'm gonna go with what the actress thinks. Alright, let's talk about Christina and Blaze for a moment. We had an interesting moment with them this week. Blaze had run into Alexis at the Metrocourt and took it upon herself to introduce her to herself, knowing she was her mom. Christina was not there yet, and when she arrived, she was not super fond of them speaking to each other, but they have a pretty good conversation among the three of them about her past with Link and maybe doing an exclusive interview with the Invader, you know, so that things like this don't happen to other artists. And she has to think about it for a bit, and Christina actually persuades her to want to do it. And, you know, Blaze really talks Christina up and says that this girl was, you know, really helpful in making me open my eyes to see how great this could be. So Blaze agrees to do it. I think that she'll probably have to go over things with Brooklyn first, since Brooklyn is her manager. But I would imagine that Brooklyn is okay with it too. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. But yeah, either way, once Blaze leaves, Alexis tells Christina that she thinks Blaze likes her. And Christina kind of had a non-reaction to it. I feel like maybe I am reading this completely the wrong way. But I get the vibe that the actress that's playing Christina was unaware that that Christina was into men and women. So I don't know, that's the vibe I get. She, like, to me, she hasn't been playing that she's interested in Blaze, or that she notices that Blaze is interested in her. I don't know. It doesn't scream I like her back. And it feels like the writers are trying to tell us one thing, and the actress is trying to tell another. I don't know. I could be reading into absolutely nothing. It's just the vibe that I get. Maybe she's just not great at acting like she's interested in another woman. I don't know. Maybe it's not her skill set. I have no idea. Okay, but Kaiwan, like, Spencer's not gonna be with Esme. Like, he doesn't like her. He hates her. It's not. She's not the next Carly. Anyway, Spencer or Esme needs to move out. Yeah, it needs to happen. Like, they can't be under the same roof. Spencer hates Esme. Like, he hates her. So like, he only puts up with her because of Ace, and like, there's just no, I don't know, there's no interest. Any relationship Spencer gets into with women is going to have a problem living with his ex-girlfriend. Yeah, it's true. Doesn't matter who he's with, and he doesn't want to be with Esme because she's done too much in the past. I forget why Scott hates Sonny because he drug Karen. Where'd that come from? Oh, Maurice. Oh, I missed your first comment. Yeah, Maurice interviewed the original Karen. I really want to watch that. I didn't have time to today because I had to get my notes ready before I had to go to my work staff meeting. But maybe I will before bed. All right. But now, to wrap things up, let's get into the biggest drama the week provided us. The aftermath of Charlotte getting shot by Anna. So, just like the week ended, the week started with Anna opening the door and shooting Charlotte. Jake had ran in not long after Anna shot her gun, screaming Charlotte's name. And when Anna went over to look at the body, she sees that it's Charlotte, and she was absolutely devastated, but still stayed level-headed and made sure that she did everything she needed to do to get Charlotte help. She put pressure on the wound. She got Jake to call 911. She gave him the address of the house. And then not long after that, Valentin shows up. And he was speechless and almost blaming her for it, angered at her for it. And you know how the promo, like the this week promo on Monday showed Anna slapping Valentin? Boy, was I waiting for this moment to happen all week, and I literally waited till Friday to see it. But in between all of that, we got some phenomenal acting scenes from Finola Hughes showing Anna's absolute devastation flawlessly. Like, Finola was amazing. Like, probably some of her best work she's ever done in her, like, 40-odd year career on GH. I was so impressed. She played it so wonderfully. Like, the way... Like, God, like, she played it so well. Like, running through what happened with Dante and just basically collapsing in his arms, crying, barely able to speak or grasp how she could have done that. I mean, it ultimately comes down to the fact that she feared for her life, and she's been on edge for weeks and weeks. And so she saw that her door was unlocked, saw someone covered up, holding a blunt object that looked like a weapon, so she took the shot thinking that they were about to try and kill her. She shot before the threat could, essentially. But yeah, Valentin looked at her with anger and disgust when she showed up at the hospital too, and couldn't even speak to her, when he really should have been standing in front of a mirror and doing that, because the only reason Charlotte was shot in the first place is because of not telling Anna anything. And that night she stayed at Sonny's and had his shoulder to lean on for a while, and the next morning she had to break the news to Nina, who ran over to Valentin to comfort him and be there for Charlotte. Valentin also had to break the news to Laura, who was just as devastated, obviously. Charlotte gets out of her surgery all right. She wakes up to Nina and Valentin. Valentin questions her, and Charlotte basically lies through her teeth the whole time. And Valentin knows it too. Now, back at Sonny's, Dante shows up and mentions that he found the keys that were actually to Anna's apartment in Charlotte's bag, along with spray paint that matched the spray paint that was on the door of her place that has since been burned down. Now, Anna comes to the conclusion that Forsyth, the guy that she thinks is stalking her, had somehow gotten to Charlotte and manipulated her into doing his dirty work. And she runs to the hospital to track down Valentin to tell him that. She ends up outside of Charlotte's room. Liz won't let her in and seems to be just as angry and confused at how Anna could shoot a child. Like, I don't know how much Liz knows, but surely she's aware of, like, what Anna's been going through lately, I would imagine. Maybe not. I could be wrong. But yeah, and then, you know, Laura was in Charlotte's room before this, and Charlotte was screaming that Anna could not be trusted, and that Victor told her she couldn't be trusted, which obviously Laura realizes, oh, she's been manipulated by Victor, and it led to this brutal situation. Laura steps outside and sees Anna pleading to see her, but she says that Charlotte is currently terrified of her. And then Valentin shows up, and she pulls him into the stairwell to talk to him. She explains what she thinks, that her enemy got to Charlotte and got her to do these things, and that's when Valentin finally decides to confess that he's known for a while that Charlotte's been the one stalking her, and that he had found footage of Charlotte going into her room at the Metro Court and got Nina to delete it and kept her in the dark about it out of some false hope that once they moved into a house together that the stalking Anna thing would stop. And Anna smacks him, just straight up slaps him. Slap heard around the world, baby. And and she tells him that she now has to live with the fact that she shot a child for the rest of her life. And she even says that she would have never taken the shot if she had any inkling that Charlotte was the one that was stalking her. And if he had just told her, that wouldn't have happened. So, you know, she basically storms off and says that she will never forgive him, which, you know, I'd be relieved about. Like, I am not an Anna and Valentin fan. You guys know this. I will plead to end this awful couple. Anna deserves better than this piece of garbage who always lies to her, always keeps secrets from her, and never puts her first for anything. Valentin honestly deserves to be forever alone with his little demon child in isolation for the rest of his life. The end. Finn. What are y'all saying? The chemistry between Christina and Blaze scream friendship to me. Me too. Like, this is how I make friends as an adult. I don't see flirtation. They just know Christina likes women, so Blaze it is. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if they were to put Christina with a woman, I'd want to already know that woman's sexuality ahead of time. We're up in the air with it. There's never been any inkling that Blaze swings one way or the other, but I want her to be open about it, you know? Like, there's nothing worse than, like, being, like, this is from my perspective, being a gay man and not knowing if someone is gay or straight, because, like, you could get feelings in that mix, and then, you know, it's just an awkward situation until someone says something. And then, like, if no one says anything for a long time, and suddenly the guy you're interested in is seeing a girl, then, you know, that kind of, like, it's a to the chest. So, and I guess it's probably even more complicated for bisexuals, because, you know, they could be into guys and girls, but you don't know for sure. So, like, even if, like, Blaze sees a guy, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's not into girls, but at the same time, it's like, who knows? Hard to say. You have to, like, be straight up and be like, you know, you either have to get the balls to ask them their sexuality, but then you kind of run the risk of, like, I guess, like, making them feel some type of way. But who knows? What else are y'all saying? Anna, please never forgive Valentin. Preach, Jake. I don't like that Liz was snippy at Anna. Anna had every reason to shoot the intruder. She didn't know it was Charlotte. Yeah, and Charlotte's not like a little girl, you know what I mean? They try, like, I feel like because Charlotte still looks quite young, but the character is, like, in high school at this point, right? But, like, she's kind of tall. She's not, like, this teeny tiny girl. Like, that could have been an adult. And even if she's a little bit shorter, it could have been a shorter adult. Like, there was no way to tell that was a kid. But yeah. Oh, by the way, this is kind of random, and I forgot to put this in my notes, but at some point, Felicia and Stella were talking about what Anna did. And I don't know how exactly it happened. I'm kind of blanking on it, but it somehow led to Stella confessing that she was in a relationship in London. She wasn't just there for her cousin. She found a man, she fell in love with him, he proposed, but she had to go back to her family to be there for Curtis, so, you know, she left him behind. So I don't know. The only reason why I can see this being brought up is because they might bring this man to Port Charles to track her down. And then she's going to want to stay there for Curtis's sake. And Curtis is going to be like, no, you go find love because you've done so much for us already when we were kids. Live your life. Because they've had this conversation with Stella before. So I think it's kind of like bringing it full circle, and maybe she'll exit the show again. You know, once she trains Felicia, she'll leave Felicia in you know, with GH, and she'll feel like GH is in good hands with Felicia. Maybe that's why they're doing the story. I don't know. We'll see. What are y'all saying? What are y'all saying? That's crazy. He didn't say anything to Anna about what Charlotte's been doing. TF was Anna gonna do to her? Like, exactly. Like, dude, she would have been so relieved if she knew it was Charlotte. She's been thinking that, you know, she's made a lot of enemies over the last 40 years. And, you know, now that the secret agent or the double agent thing has come out, she'll have even more enemies. So she's been on edge the entire time, and all of that, like, especially when things started happening around her, and all of that could have been avoided if she had just heard the truth from Valentin. Valentin had just told her the truth. Like, I don't know what he thought Anna was gonna do. Oh, the blaze got a nice shake. What? Oh, you're like that and you're bisexual. Oh, man. This just isn't flirtation between two women. Yeah, I agree. Like, Blaze isn't flirting with her. Like, I'm straight cisgender woman. So what do I know? I don't know. Like, I feel like even straight guys can, like, compliment each other in flirtatious ways, and it's just like playful on a friendship, you know. Like, I can even like jokingly flirt with a straight guy who knows that I'm gay, but like intellectually I'm like, I'm not really trying to flirt with you. I know I had no chance with you. Like, it's just jokes. But like, you know, that's just how friendships go. That's just friendship banter, whether you're gay, straight, or bi. You kind of just like, you know, when your friends be looking good, you tell them. It ain't like, I don't know. And we're supposed to believe that Christina and Blaze got close right away. So, like, you know, clearly Blaze doesn't have any friends in town as it is. So, you know, if they hit it off right away, maybe they're just being friendly. Who knows? We'll see. And this could still lead to nothing, guys. I mean, this is GH. They don't seem to write for gay couples very well. Or at all, really. Grown person bullet. Charlotte is a 15-year-old that was doing grown people things and caught a grown person bullet. Oh lordy, yeah. Oh man. But yeah, that wraps up every bit of GH this week in a nutshell. I got through it pretty quickly, thank God, because I felt like I had a lot to say, and I had not much time to do it in, because I didn't want to be on super late either. But yeah, that's that on that. I thought it was a very solid week on GH. I even didn't hate the Eddie Main finale, you know? Like, was it cringe-worthy? Absolutely. It was so cringe. But so was the whole story. And there's always storylines like this where I just, like, I can really see it for what it is. It wasn't supposed to be this serious thing. It might have gone on for much longer than it should have, but I like the way that they ended it. Siren and all, and using this opportunity to give Lisa and Wally something fun to do. I don't know, if you guys haven't watched the behind the scenes stuff, go to General Hospital's YouTube page or their Insta or their Twitter and just look it up. It's funny stuff. Oh man. Alright, but yeah, I think I'll end the stream here. We'll be back Wednesday for the GHMV Reacts live stream. I don't know if we're going to react to any old clips. But we'll check in with each other. I could change my mind about that. We'll see. You know, the Wednesday streams are a bit more off cuff. So whatever will happen Wednesday will happen Wednesday. We'll obviously discuss GH a little bit. We're not doing a part 3 for Tyler. God, may he rest. But yeah, we'll chit chat on Wednesday. And if a moment this week strikes a need to watch some classic clips for like a reference, maybe we'll do it. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for being patient with waiting a little bit longer than usual. Nathan, my name is not Albert, it's Dion. This is Dion's Corner. I'm not Albert. I'm glad Ned got his memories back. That was annoying. I hope he gets to hear the song at least, and I hope that maybe he wants a career change, or maybe not a career change, but maybe he wants to do a bit of both. You know, do what he loves and also run a company on the side. Valentin for sure has not been thinking clearly. It's all good. I love Albert, so I'll take the comparison. Alright, y'all. But yeah, I'll see you guys Wednesday. Peace out. Enjoy your week. And yeah, we'll catch you guys then. Good night. Mwah.